To Northern California, Southern California, and, wait for it, California. So why divide? Well, the main argument is that Los Angeles and the Bay Area essentially forgot about the rest of California. Joining me now is Los Angeles-based attorney and columnist for townhall.com, Kurt Schlichter. Kurt, thanks for being here. Let's basically break this down again. If we could put that map back up, Northern California and California would basically be liberal enclaves, and Southern California, which encapsulates a little bit of the Central Valley in San Diego and Orange County, would be the conservative enclave. Sir, why does this matter, and will this happen?
Well, I don't know if it's going to happen, and that map needs to be adjusted, Todd. We need to stick Los Angeles and California into the same state. That way we can build a giant wall around it on the border and seal it off from the rest of the United States so it can stop doing so much damage.
Not animated at all on this topic, Kurt. But in reality, there are a lot of steps that this has to go through. First, it has to get through the California legislature. Then, court challenges, because nothing gets through in this day and age without court challenges. And finally, congressional approval. I don't think Congress, as it's constituted now, is going to want to add a lot more Democratic senators, which under this plan it would.
Well, Todd, I have a great answer for that. Let's divide a great patriotic state like Texas into 4. That way we'll get a bunch of new conservative senators. No, but seriously, here's the problem, Todd. It's almost like a feudal government here. You've got the overlords living in Silicon Valley and Los Angeles, and they're ruling over this vast, vast nation. It's kind of like Game of Thrones, except the leadership's not quite as interesting or as attractive. But the people out in the people out in the valley or up in the mountains or out in the desert, they're not getting represented. They're getting overrun. Okay. They're getting treated like garbage. They're being ignored. This state is being run for the kind of people who live in Silicon Valley and who live here in West Side Los Angeles, and that's just not right.
Well, Kurt,
smaller's better.
How did we get
government.
Here? How did we get here, Kurt?
I wish I knew. Look, I came here in 1972. We had Governor Ronald Reagan. California was full of opportunity and not full of homeless people you have to step over on the sidewalks and highways that were falling apart. But somewhere along the line, we lost what made California great. Right now, California still has great weather, and we still have In-N-Out Burger, but we've lost everything else.
Honestly, with In-N-Out Burger, that cures a lot of ills. In the 10 seconds I have remaining, what is the future of California?
California is like a drunk, Todd. It has to hit bottom and get some sense again and re-embrace free enterprise instead of this liberal Venezuelan nightmare that we're going down toward.
Kurt Schlichter, as long as I don't have to take another bar exam, I did that 15 years ago in California. Do not want to do it again. Kurt Schlichter, thanks for being here.
Bubba keeps putting his foot in his mouth 1 week after snapping at an NBC News reporter for asking whether he had apologized to Monica Lewinsky. Bill Clinton offered another off-the-wall comment about the Me Too movement.
I think the norms have really changed in terms of what you can do to somebody against their will, how much you can crowd their space, make them miserable at work. You don't have to physically assault somebody to make them, uncomfortable at work or at home or in their just walking around.
Now, Bill later went on to say that was a good thing that those norms had changed, but oh my God. Here to respond, Diamond and Silk. Ladies, he just needs to stop talking about this. It's not doing him any favors.
It's not. He's really embarrassing himself. Listen, it sounds like he may be having an out-of-mind, out-of-touch experience. Yep. Maybe he's trying to come clean about what he did in the past. Maybe he's trying to clear his conscience, is what it seems like to us. Listen, we know he will never probably be prosecuted for anything. Right. I think that he should be in a timeout, meaning they should bring the jail to him or wherever he's sitting, just put bars around him so he won't have to go anywhere.
That's right. It really looked like he's having a come-to-Jesus moment.
Yes.
Juanita Broderick had this to say on Twitter. So Bill Clinton thinks he should get a pass because it was 1978 when he raped me, and he knows it's not acceptable in today's society. Wow. Moving on, though, Luis Gutierrez. Listen to what the congressman has to say about Jeff Sessions.
Sessions, he just loved, for black people to be in the back of the bus again. Yeah, he loved for women to be in the kitchen. He loved for gay people to be in the closet again. And for me, not to have a microphone to be able to speak to anybody.
I don't know what he's doing with his hands there, if he's knitting, I didn't get that, but probably one of the most insensitive and inflammatory and baseless, disgusting accusations I've ever heard in my career on Fox News.
Yeah, what he's doing is he's acting like a gatekeeper of the Democratic Party. He's using those dog whistle slogans. You know, if he want to talk about somebody being on the back of the bus, what about the illegal aliens that come in the back of a truck like cattle, and they're not doing anything about that because they're okay with them crossing the border? Or what about illegal aliens being in kitchens working for slave wages, and they're not saying anything about that? See, we already know that they can't use black people, so who the next people they're trying to use is people, illegal aliens, as the new slaves of the Democratic Party. So we're going to ignore them, and he need to worry about his party, himself, and how they only give you enough to keep you quiet, but not enough to make a difference.
That's right.
Yeah, Louise off the rocker once again. Now, another guy off the rocker, Democrat running for Congress, I think out in Colorado, yeah, Levi Tilleman, and he doesn't think they should be having guns in school to neutralize school shooters. He wants school shooters defeated by pepper spray. And here's his ad.
Trust me, this will stop anyone in their tracks. It's incredibly painful, and now I just can't see anything.
I mean, he wanted the attention and he got it on Watters World. What do you think, ladies?
Jesse, listen, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. May should not be your first choice to take down a gunman, nor should a water gun or a slingshot. Okay? You have to meet somebody with a gun with some lead and some heat. If a criminal is coming at you with a gun, you need to be pointing a gun back at him to take him out.
That's right.
All right, ladies, and Jerry Springer, they may be canceling his show. These are some rumors going around. This is what we're going to be missing. Remember this? All right, ladies, say goodbye to Jerry Springer.
Bye,
this could be the end.
Peace out, Jerry. Bye-bye.
All right.
The UN demands President Trump stop separating families that illegally cross the border. But here's a radical idea. How about we demand these families stop crossing the border illegally? Then they won't be separated. It's pretty simple. It's time for final thoughts. You should know that the UN group that slammed the U.S. border policy includes some of the world's most repressive countries and regimes. So for starters, maybe they should focus on their own horrid human rights records. But nonetheless, a spokeswoman for the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights told reporters this week, quote, the U.S. should immediately halt this practice of separating families and stop criminalizing what should be at most an administrative offense. She went on to say the practice, quote, amounts to an arbitrary and unlawful interference in family life. Excuse me? Let me get this straight. The U.S. should stop protecting our borders because it's a hindrance to the illegal immigrants' family life? What about American families? Families that rely on safe and secure borders. Don't we matter? No one likes the idea of separating children from their families, and the best way to make sure this doesn't happen is to keep people of all ages from crossing the border illegally. Hello? Why is this such a hard concept to understand? But it's not just the UN. The ACLU has also filed a lawsuit on the family separations. But the Trump administration has made it clear we have a zero-tolerance policy for illegal border crossings. That's not mean, that's not inhumane, that's border enforcement. You'd think the Democrats would understand that. They rarely meet regulations they don't like. Why are border and immigration regulations any different? Imagine if they spent half as much time focusing on border security as they do gun safety. Perhaps we wouldn't be in this predicament. But take the case of the pizza delivery man from New York who was detained last week at a military base and now faces deportation. Many of us feel tremendous compassion for the man, Pablo Villavicencio, but he defied a voluntary departure order in 2010 and was therefore considered an ICE fugitive. No one wants to see him taken away from his family and deported, but how are we to handle this crisis if we keep bending the rules? As much as I feel for that family, I also feel for the thousands of immigrant families who spend time and money to do it the right way. We all agree we need immigration reform, but instead of aiding, abetting, and applauding illegal immigrants, how about we send the message loud and clear? Our border will be enforced. Don't journey through Mexico with your children. Don't put yourselves at risk, and don't blame the United States or President Trump when you get here and are detained or prosecuted. Every nation has the right to enforce its borders. Why do some believe the U.S. should be any different? Yes, we're a nation of immigrants, but we're also one with laws. Get with the program or face the consequences. Those are my final thoughts. Feel free to disagree. From LA, God bless,